Hey, folks, we're here with Aaron Nichols. A very brand new introduction, just getting to know him and looking forward to learning more. So, Aaron, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Adam.
Where are you located? Let's start there.
I live in Longmont, Colorado, but I actually work remotely for a solar EPC that's in Pennsylvania.
Okay. And I did just a quick little LinkedIn background check on you. There's a ton of content. You're pushing a particular message and initiative. Tell me what your passion is and what you're promoting.
I love renewable energy, and I am very, very passionate about it. I was traveling the world a couple years ago, and as I was reflecting on what I wanted to do with my life, I realized, I had come out of the education and nonprofit space, and I realized that I wanted to affect the world, but I also didn't want to be broke. And so I figured out, if I can just deploy as much clean energy as I possibly can and use my skills to help the world transition to cleaner power sources, I think that's a pretty good use of a human life. And if I don't have to suffer and be penniless in the meantime, all the better. So I think the thing that I've noticed, and I've only been here for a couple years, but the bar for PR, marketing, media, and branding in the clean energy industry is so low, especially with PR. There's so many interesting things that we're doing, but many of the people who do them are so technically minded that they have absolutely no idea how to translate how interesting the things they are doing are to the public. So I think that's a good place to start.
Ooh, couldn't agree more. All of us here at What's Up Renewables are completely agreeing with branding and the PR piece. Okay, you have a neat passion start. Early in my career, I've been doing this a long time. I rarely met people that joined this industry because they wanted to, produce clean energy. It was more about new career opportunity. And now I'm getting to know or getting to meet more folks like you. And tell me, what did your startup story look like, or your entry into the industry?
Yeah, it all started when I met a couple of circus girls on a beach in Ecuador when I was learning to surf down there back in 2021.
No way.
Yeah, I swear to God. So
Circus girls while you're surfing in Ecuador.
yeah, I had
Right.
I wouldn't call it a quarter life crisis, more of just needing to run away for a little while. But I had a come to Jesus moment in my life where I had, I thought my life was going to go one way, and then the pandemic made it go another way, like what happened for so many people. We deployed to the Peace Corps in Nepal in January of 2020, and we were there for 7 weeks, and then we all got sent home of our 2-year commitment.
Oh,
And I had sold everything. And I had done my degree as an educator, and after I did my student teaching, I had sworn that I was never going to teach in the U.S. And then I deployed for Peace Corps. We were returned home. I took a teaching job that I had turned down to go to Peace Corps in Nepal. And I then spent the most miserable, isolated year of my life teaching in person in a very conservative district in Western Colorado, just during the pandemic, far away from my family, in a town that didn't really have many young people to hang out with. And so I got to the end of that and I felt insane, but traveling had always been there for me. And I had already gone to quite a few countries. I'd spent a year living in Australia before that. I went to the Peace Corps because I loved travel, and I still am very passionate about cultural exchange. But when that year was over, I was like, I'm never going to do this again. And luckily, I had some money saved and invested. So I went traveling for 2 years and I spent a lot of time learning how to surf in South and Central America. And over that time, I started thinking about how I wanted to affect the world. And like I said, while I was traveling, I realized I wanted to deploy clean energy, but I had no idea how to break in. And then one day I was in Ecuador on a beach and I met these women who their passion was circus arts. And so they would knock doors selling solar. And then they would go travel for months at a time until they ran out of money and then come home and knock more doors. And so they invited me on a couple door-to-door sales trips, what they called blitz trips. And I was awful at it. I was so bad. I felt like I was bothering people all the time. You know, I didn't know about the problematic nature of the door-to-door solar industry back then. I was just saying the script that they told me to say, and I made a little bit of money, but I was terrible. And then at the end of 2 years of traveling, I found myself in Bali. And I was like, okay, I'm going home soon. I still have a little bit of money, but I'm done traveling. I'm ready to root down and nest and settle down more. But I have no idea how I'm gonna break into clean energy. And I didn't know, I didn't want to do door-to-door sales again. And so I signed up for a 6-week solar installer NABCEP PV Associate certification course through Grid Alternatives. And I took that, and then I went and worked in Alaska for the summer, having nothing to do with clean energy. That was my Peace Corps-ish experience. I was running summer camps for kids in indigenous villages in the Yukon Delta. And then I came home and I had this NABCEP PV associate, and luckily I was in a relationship with someone at the time who was older than me. She wanted me to get to her income level really fast, so I couldn't just be a solar installer. And so I started copywriting, and this was right before generative AI sort of downgraded that field. So I started copywriting. I started finding a lot of different solar companies that were interested because I was a NABCEP PV associate. And I started posting on LinkedIn, just getting more and more clients. I worked for some huge clients in the space, some billion-dollar companies, and eventually Exact Solar just brought me on full time. And I've been here since, it's 2 years now, 2.5 years.
Exact Solar.
So it's a pretty typical, path.
Yeah, no, I hear it all the time. I'm surfing and meeting circus girls. Yeah. All right. Like the words in that sentence are still processing in my head at the moment. We'd like to thank our sponsor, Altair Energy Services, and their highly trained, expert technical staff, leveraging decades of renewable power management experience into customized solutions for everyone to meet their energy goals and contribute to a better future for all. Altair's team of hardworking, respected experts are providing full-scope, turnkey repairs, planned and unplanned maintenance, system upgrades, fully autonomous technical crews, supplemental staffing, and customized dynamic scheduling to fit your power production needs. Contact Altair at info@altairenergyservices.com and learn more about their wide range of capabilities across multiple power technologies and platforms.
You'd be surprised how many people out in a lot of hippie towns around the world are just really into circus arts, like fire spinning and flow stuff and like lyra and aerial silks, all that stuff. People love it.
But it doesn't pay the same as selling solar.
No. No, it doesn't.
Okay.
And this was like peak door-to-door time. That has calmed down a lot now too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So tell me what your first sales experiences were like, door-to-door solar.
I was just setting appointments, and I was really bad at it because I'm a very, very empathetic person, and it was really hard for me to get over the fact that I was bothering people when they were trying to eat dinner or do whatever they were doing. And yeah, I'm a lot better at it obviously talking to people who are already interested in things, but I'm not so great at cold sales.
Yeah. No, it's tough. Some
Yeah.
people have that knack for it and zero fear,
Yeah.
but it's difficult. Okay, so a little rough getting started. That was your first taste of it or your first view of that market, that industry. And what year was this? I couldn't follow you from COVID. Were you in Colorado 2 years? So it was like 2022.
Yeah, it was like late 21, early 22.
Okay. All right. And then you got your NABCEP degree or certificate,
PV associate.
PV
Yeah.
associate.
Which just
Thank
is
you.
like base level certified solar installer.
Ah, got you. Residential.
Hmm.
Okay. But that wasn't quite enough. You needed one more trip to Alaska. And then,
I did, and
right.
that was me like, I didn't get to do my Peace Corps experience. I'll go run summer camps for kids in indigenous villages for a summer and sleep on schoolhouse floors and have this crazy experience and then come home.
Yeah. And then you landed with Exact Solar.
I did. Yeah.
Okay. I'm not familiar with them. Is that also residential solar
Residential and commercial. We're an
and
EPC
commercial?
out in Pennsylvania, so we serve Southeast PA and New Jersey.
Okay, EPC and PA. Yeah, I've spent too many years in utility renewables, so I don't know too much about residential commercial.
Yeah.
Still getting up to speed there.
Well, I know virtually nothing about utilities, so, we got a
Well
lot
then,
to learn from each other.
perfect. That's perfect. And when did you start with them?
I started with Exact, I think September of 2023. They actually found me on Upwork. That's another really funny story. I think the president of the company was looking for someone to write some blog articles at the time. And he had copy and pasted another message they sent to someone. So the first message I got from Exact Solar, who's now my full-time employer, it started with like, "Hey Jennifer."
Okay. Okay. And you're a writer.
Yes, I've always
Yeah.
been a writer. I won my local dairy farm's poetry contest at the age of 9. I think it's really been downhill from there as a writer, but I've always loved to write.
I love to write also. I feel like I am getting benched a little bit with the AI stuff.
Yeah, I think it's still so important to do just to keep your mind sharp.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Okay. Are you able to feed that or use that skill with your current solar job?
Absolutely, yeah. And even, AI has made me faster, and I do a lot more editing now than I do straight up writing, but I still write most of the copy that comes out of Exact Solar. I think, yeah, AI, I'm still not that impressed with AI writing. It's okay. It's a good starting point. It's good for first drafts and research, but it's one of those things where everything kind of homogenizes and starts to sound like everything else, and it's trained on all of the content that's ever been on the internet, and 80% of that is bad. So, it's getting better, but it still just needs someone to edit it and have a guiding hand.
I've been calling it my unpaid intern.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's that. It's helpful, but that's the quality you're getting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, wait. What is your job at Exact Solar?
So my title is Research and Policy Specialist, which we made up because I had a marketing related title before, and I was talking to a lot of press, and they kept telling me they didn't want to talk to a marketing guy. So
Ah,
we put up a smokescreen and came up with a title that's ultimately meaningless, but sounds better and more expert led than marketing person.
it sounds a lot better. And what's your deliverable? What's your targeted goal with this job type?
Yeah, I handle PR. I handle written organic content. I also host a podcast called This Week in Solar, and I call, qualify, and schedule incoming leads. Right now, that's what my job has become.
Wow. All right. This is really cool. So you took your passion, your expertises as well with writing and talking, and for doing something good, and you kind of created your own job
I
with
did.
a solar company. I mean, that's pretty impressive, man.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. My marketing manager was saying like, it's they tried so many people before me and there were just a couple people that didn't work out because they needed someone to cover so many bases and to actually step in and make their own job. And I'm the oldest of a 5 kid family. I'm very comfortable in chaos and we're very fortunate that we're in a high growth period and that's it. It's just like growing up in a 5 kid family.
That's pretty good. I haven't thought about that. I'm also the oldest, a lot of siblings.
Nice. How
It's
many?
pretty good. One of six.
Oh, okay.
Yep, one of
Wow.
six. But because I'm the oldest and there's some gaps, I didn't exactly grow up with them all.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, right, right.
Yeah.
Okay. So you carved out your own spot
Hmm.
in the industry. That's really cool. I wish other people would. I mean, how hard was that? I wish more folks would do that to say, here's my passion, here's what I'm good at.
Hmm.
I'm joining.
It was a very hard feeling in the beginning because I went through a very fruitless job search in the beginning. I mean, I had just taken 2 years off, so I didn't have work history. And the only thing I knew about solar was how to install. So no one was going to hire me for white collar stuff. And so I had to start doing piecemeal contract work, which is definitely something I recommend to anyone who's trying to break in because there's so many businesses who aren't ready to hire a full-time employee, but definitely need someone to take something on part-time. There's a lot of opportunity for that. And so that's what I had to do. And in the beginning, it was about survival. I mean, the original LinkedIn content I made was just me desperately trying to show anyone that I knew anything about what I was trying to do. And then it slowly blossomed from there. And I've written 6 posts a week and posted them on LinkedIn for the last 2.5 years. And I'm finally starting to get a lot of attention and traction, which has been awesome.
It's a grind, isn't it?
Yeah,
The digital side of our industry. It's a grind.
it is. Yeah.
Hmm.
But, I've realized there's always room for something that no one else is doing, or there's always room to do something in a way that no one else is doing it.
Hmm. I agree. So is the sales approach changing in your side of the industry from door knocking to digital? Is there some transition there?
I can't really say the sales approach is changing because there's still a lot of companies that use door to door. I think I just am at a company that doesn't use door to door. But we also have a 20-year history and are really, really good at building trust signals. So we have a lot of inbound leads, whereas not everybody has that or knows how to leverage that reputation. But I think the sales is changing a little bit as well because with the residential tax credit going away, there's going to be a lot more third-party ownership and PPAs starting next year. So the approach to selling those is a little bit different, and we've never really had to sell those in our 20-year history. And so we now have a good partner and we're scaling up, figuring out how to sell PPAs, and that's been a whole fun new adventure.
What do you mean third party ownership of PPAs?
Yeah, so someone else owns the system, and then because the commercial tax credit is phasing out later than the residential tax credit, the financier who owns the system basically owns a power plant on the roof of the homeowner and then sells them the power for a set rate every month, and they claim the tax credit and the depreciation and all that other good stuff on their behalf.
I can see on a commercial location,
Mhm.
I can see industrial location, but you're saying also on a home in a residential location.
Yeah, the way the law is written allows people to own basically a portfolio of energy systems that are on people's homes as a commercial asset.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah,
I
it's very common on our side of the meter.
Okay. It's interesting. I guess so the homeowner is sort of leasing their rooftop space away or trading it for energy or something.
Yeah. And it allows them to there's a lot of utilities in our region where people are paying like 22 to 30 cents a kilowatt hour. And this allows them to go like for, 12 to 15 cents a kilowatt hour for the next 25 years, and the price is never going to go up, and they don't pay anything up front. It's not as purely economical as just paying for the system in cash up front and owning it, and it's a little more complex just in terms of who owns what and what happens if something goes wrong, but it is still a great option. And a lot of the behind the meter side of the industry is moving towards that model.
Okay, you made the comment on economics, and I'm familiar with that math for the homeowner, but I do understand it's an option for a homeowner to reduce their power spend.
Yes,
Yeah,
it
I
is.
get it. I get it. And this has been going on for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, I think more than half of residential systems are third party owned. It was like 53% last year, and it's going to be probably 70% next year, according
Uh,
to, projections. And projections can be right, and they can't be sometimes.
yeah, yeah, fair enough. But you got some history on half for last year, right?
Yeah,
Um, is that nationwide? Is that global? Is it PA? Where at?
that's nationwide, according to Wood Mackenzie.
Yeah. Okay. That's a reputable research group.
Yeah,
I had no idea. I'm in California. I've never heard of this.
really, it's
Never.
so common
I
in
know
California.
residential. I know residential solar companies. I mean, I put my own system on. I'm trying to think when the heck I did it. It's before COVID. I can't remember if it was
Oh
before or
wow,
after COVID,
yeah.
but maybe it was just after. And I got some quotes from some companies and was just kind of blown away on the price. So I ended up just buying the stuff and putting it on myself. But
Nice. That's what I'm gonna
well,
do.
I have the skills and
Yeah.
the know how from my own career. So it just seemed like don't be so lazy, Adam. Go do it yourself, right? Yeah. But nobody offered me this third party PPA, get in on the bigger team kind of sales.
Yeah, I don't know if it was as common back before the pandemic. I mean, a lot has changed in 6 years from what I'm told. I've only been here 2.5 years.
Yeah.
What was your all-in cost for that?
I think if you added in, the extra electrical tape and gizmos that I got from my local Home Depot, I did like a 8.5 system for $14,000.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you got to
Um,
go to your local Home Depot a bunch of times, which is the coolest feeling in the world as a man.
I got to fail my county inspection twice, passed it on the third time. There was code that I didn't quite know, and that changes
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't too bad and not too difficult to install. I was raised by a carpenter too, so building
Oh, great.
houses and working around stuff. Grew up doing that stuff, so that
Yeah.
was no big deal to
That's the
to hit
stuff
the.
I love. That's what I love about solar, man. I love that it enables self-reliance.
Mm, yes, yes. I agree. No, I have some later in life plans for pure off grid kind of living, and
Oh
solar's a
man.
big part of that.
I
Let me say
think we're very similar guys if you have.
part time living, part time. Okay,
Yeah, so you're gonna build a bunker in the woods and wait till the zombies come?
you heard all that in my small comment. When I say this stuff to my son, that's what he hears too. He goes, "All right, Dad, I got this 3-level underground design idea." All right, let's start with on the ground first.
That's only because I have similar goals that I can
Yeah,
make fun of it.
it's peaceful, right? It's peaceful.
Yeah. Yeah. I,
Okay. And now I'm trying to think, I did find all of these companies with an internet search. No one ever knocked on my door. However, I live in an HOA. You're not allowed to door knock there.
right.
But I found them all on an internet search, made a phone call. Folks came out and gave presentations and proposals and things like that. So I understand now the digital side. You're adding that digital muscle or making it a little stronger than the door knocking makes sense, right?
Yeah.
People like the convenience of searching for something at their own home and having it show up,
Hmm.
whether it's, I guess, solar or groceries. No,
Yeah.
anything.
It's true, but I think you have so much more heavy lifting to do to gain trust digitally rather than in person. I mean, like I spoke at an event when I went to Pennsylvania last time, and it was just like a local event at an Autobahn society, and we had built the solar energy system for them, and like someone from the society spoke, and then I spoke as a representative from Exact Solar, and it was like 5 people just walked up to me and gave me their contact info and said they were interested in solar. It's a lot more difficult than that digitally because you have to build trust over time. There's a lot more touch points. You have to make sure that your messaging is dialed across all platforms. Anywhere anyone is going to find you, you have to make sure that, it looks decent. You have to be very careful about who you're partnering with in terms of ads and who's getting your message out there. Make sure that they are pushing traffic towards something that you would be proud of. There's a lot of things that go into it.
Agreed. And you're a writer, so you know the difference. It's still written, right? It's still visual, even though it's an ad and maybe there's some
Mhm.
pictures and colors. But if you go way too salesy, you lose your person, right? You still have to
Yeah,
have that sincere, genuine messaging, even though it's digital. You don't want to sound like the used car salesman from the 80s or something, right?
totally.
Yeah, it's an art, even though it's
Yeah.
the written word. I mean, when you knock on the door, you got to show them that you're a real person and sincere and genuine. And a full salesy approach probably isn't going to land you too many deals.
Yeah, it's true. I also would recommend, I mean, I'm absolutely obsessed with old ads from the 1950s. I was
All
actually
right.
just flipping through Ogilvy on advertising before we had this call. And there's there's so many cool old ads that you can look at to figure out how to elicit emotion and get people interested in the story of what you're trying to do.
Mm. What are some techniques that are winning today? Or is that the secret sauce you don't want to share?
I could say side by sides have been really good. Like some of the ads that have performed really well for us are, picture of a home with solar and then a little sign that says energy prices are locked for the next 25 years, and then picture of a home without solar right next to it that says energy prices are going to go up every year.
Mm.
Just little things like that. I'm a freak about trying to pack the most meaning into the smallest amount of words as well when I'm writing.
Makes sense. If a picture is worth 1,000 words, get 2 or 3 of them in there in one
Yeah.
frame. Makes sense. That's good
Yeah.
logic.
Yeah.
Hmm. How about personal testimony? Is that working at all?
Absolutely, yeah. But I mean, we've been around for 20 years, so we have, quite a few that we can leverage at this point, and people we can go back to and ask for testimonies, or people we can send new prospects to and say, "Will you talk to this guy and tell him that we're not going to destroy your home?"
Makes sense. That is the risk, right? You're gonna crawl around on my roof, and I don't really understand. Yeah,
Yeah, of course. There's a
yeah,
there's a
100%.
big barrier to be overcome for anyone who's doing home service. I mean, the home is so sacred and important to people. You have to demonstrate that you're trustworthy.
Yeah, that's your safe space, isn't it? Place to be
Yeah.
free.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right, we walked past the book, but what kind of fun ads were you finding in there?
There's this famous ad called "The Man in the Hathaway Shirt," and they ran a very successful campaign with this man with an eye patch. It's a very famous story. David Ogilvy was on his way to a photo shoot, and I think he had bought an eye patch at like a prop shop as a joke and brought it to the photo shoot and then put it on the guy and realized that it made him very interesting. Just a normal man standing there in a shirt is not particularly interesting. There's nothing mysterious or strange about him, and something about putting the eye patch on him made him this figure that people wanted to know more about. It transformed him into a more interesting character, and that went on to be one of the best-selling campaigns they ever did.
Makes sense. It starts the fuel for a brand, doesn't it?
Mhm. Yeah,
Yep. And then branding follows.
right. And I mean, this is a rant that I always just end up coming back to. This is basically my whole soapbox since I've been here, but we're so obsessed with data as a clean energy industry. We're so like every report and white paper and thing that we put out has a picture of a graph that says that some massive number of things happened, and it's all very esoteric and educated, and it's so difficult for someone to grasp. And we seem to be so resistant about using emotional messaging, which is something that has worked really well for us at Exact. But I think I understand the instinct. I think I get that like we're supposed to be this like educated, higher ground thing that people can choose because they're educated and they're making good decisions. But I we're we're facing an opponent that has no trouble using emotional messaging and fear to convince people of things. Like the fossil fuel industry has had no trouble doing that. And for whatever reason, we seem to be resistant to bringing things down to earth. Like we love to say, you know, if this legislation passes, 100,000 jobs are going to be lost. And someone hears that and they're like, yes, big number of things bad. But the truth is, the human impact of that is Jim's going to lose his job. Jim just got off substances. He's clean for the first time in a while. He just got training for this skill set, and now he has dignity for the first time in his life. And this is going to be a major setback for him. That's what matters. Like, that's the reason that nonprofits, when they're fundraising, will show pictures of one starving child. Or when you look at a Humane Society website, you see one puppy at a time. Is because, like, when it's an easily surmountable problem, or it's easy to intervene, people are much more likely to take action than if the problem sounds big and overwhelming. And we seem to be so obsessed with graphs that we continue to try to beat people over the head with them, and then we're surprised when people aren't listening to us.
Right. Right. Ooh, that was deep. That was spot on too. You got me rethinking a lot of my own pitches. Because I'll tell you, like nothing that comes out of my mouth ever matches what I put on the PowerPoint. Right. Right. The PowerPoint is the facts.
Yeah.
But what comes out of my mouth is this genuine, here I am
Yeah.
kind of message.
Right.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. I like to say no one is sitting around waiting to be shown a graph that proves them wrong.
Right. Yeah. Where do we
No
sign
one
up?
wakes up and they're like, God, I hope someone shows me a bar chart that proves I'm an idiot.
I love it when my day's ruined. I hope it happens early today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
Right.
also not wired to remember facts. I gave a talk about this back in May for Switch Colorado. It's really interesting that people have no trouble whatsoever dismissing facts, and they decay in the mind at a much faster rate than stories do, which is really interesting. I mean, like, we evolved as creatures just passing down oral tradition for thousands and thousands of years. And then all of a sudden, we're being asked to just completely disregard that and live in a totally different way and take information in a completely different way. But it's not what we're wired for. But when things are grounded in emotion, we tend to remember them for a much longer time frame than we do if something's just grounded in fact.
I agree. It sort of like why I don't remember anything from middle school, right? That was your first taste at all the facts in the books, I think. Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense. But you're right. We remember the stories and remember when the stories, how they affected the humans and what changed.
I'd be willing to bet that you don't remember a lot from middle school or high school, but that you remember certain teachers and how they made you feel either good or bad.
In general, I don't know why I do struggle with teachers at this point, but I
Yeah.
remember so many valuable mentors
Yeah.
along my career path, the folks that would take the extra time and explain things.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, could never forget them.
And for
So
me,
they were like
yeah.
teachers.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's friends. I mean, I think back to high school, I remember a couple teachers that I hated, and then I remember spending time with my friends.
Right.
I don't remember the formulas. I don't remember like most of the stuff I learned. I don't remember the books I read, but I remember memories with my friends.
Yeah, agreed. Right. No, same. Most formulas I still have to reference today. Quick look. How did that work?
Yeah.
Or the history on something. But you're right. We do remember the people.
Yeah.
Well, why are we teaching that way? We're going off. We're going on a wrong rabbit hole. What's Up Renewables is growing, and we're looking for new sponsors to join us. Our show connects leaders, innovators, and field professionals across the renewable industry, and our sponsors are part of that conversation. Some have seen their network expand instantly. Others have grown revenue and brand visibility through the connections they've made right here. If you want your company to reach the people driving the future of clean energy, now's the time to get involved. Contact us at media@whatsuprenewables.com to become a sponsor today. Okay.
But that's what I mean is that because like a lot of people in this industry are very quote unquote educated, have advanced degrees, whatever. We talk to the public the way that we were taught, and we don't remember anything from the way that we were taught, but we're just told it's the way to teach. It's like teachers still assign word counts. We still place value on things that are written at ridiculously high reading levels rather than like what is the base level of communication? How simply can I communicate this? How emotionally can I communicate this thing? That's what drives me crazy.
Right. So a lot of it is because that's the way it was done
Yeah.
before. So we decide to repeat history.
Yeah. It's just what
Yeah.
we're used to. My friend Spencer Meeks sent me an essay about this the other day. It's like we have this intellectual purity test where we're used to just kind of working to get somewhere with our ideas, and then we get there and we feel like we've worked for it, so it must be true. But we have so much trouble just bringing things down to earth and using emotion to meet people where they're at and painting the picture of what life is going to be like with the product. I mean, I like to say that I'm not particularly interested in the truth. I'm interested in why people I disagree with do the thing that I want them to do.
Ooh, I like that. You're really bringing the psychology into sales here, buddy. This is deeper than just the art of it.
I'm fascinated with psychology, man. I could talk about psychology all day.
I can tell. I can tell why the person did that. Mostly, I just have good jokes about it. But the study of it,
I can always use a good joke if you want to hit me.
Oh, I tell a clean one on here. Mom and young daughter are making dinner and they're making a ham. Mom cuts the ends off the hand, puts it in the pan, puts it in the oven. Daughter says, "Why'd you cut the ends off?" "I don't know, Mom." So my mom did. Let's ask Grandma. "Grandma, why?" "Cut the ends off." Grandma says, "Actually, great grandma's, she taught me. Let's ask great grandma. Great grandma, why you cut the ends off the ham before you put it in the pan?" She says, "My pan was too small." But it falls into what you were saying, right? We continue to do what we were taught instead of, stopping and asking, objective questions and things like that for a long time. And
Yeah.
what you want to know why the person chooses something. I'm pretty good at defining a path, but I do know the answer. So I will, like you were saying, I have my answer and I'm going to create my path. And I know that that's often wrong, but it is my style,
Right.
right? I should let my path determine my outcome and my result and where I end up, but it's just not how my brain works.
Yeah.
So instead, I counter it with, if something's not working, I pause. And what I say is redefine reality,
Mm.
because what I believed was reality is now clearly not. So I must redefine and accept it and create a new winning goal or
Yeah.
winning path, right? And yeah, folks get hung up on whatever was in their head. It's hard to
Totally.
change a human's mind.
It really is. I was just writing about this for just a personal essay the other day. It's like we also have a hard time choosing reality often.
Hmm.
And there's a call-in show with a therapist I really like named the John Deloney Show, and he always talks about the only way that someone can make measurable change in their lives and get out of a bad situation is first to choose reality and to realize you are in a bad situation, that you do need to change something and that this is not working.
Yeah. Yeah. Accepting reality is a tough one. So, when you have folks that you're trying to get to join the solar, ranks of producers, I mean, that's part of it, right? Not only just show them the money, because you show the human out, you're going to save so much money. It like instantly puts up a guard a little bit, like it's a
Mhm.
snake oil deal. Don't know this stranger. And you got to break that down for them.
Yeah. You do, and you have to paint the picture of what life is going to be like. I mean, I think sales is generally just getting people to overestimate the impact a decision is going to have on their lives. Like Jerry Seinfeld has a really hilarious award acceptance speech where he talks about this. He's like, "Show me how good my life is going to be once I get the product." He's like, "We all know I'm going to forget it as soon as I have it, but I need you to tell me how good my life is going to be once I have it." And that's
Yes.
really the only way that we make buying decisions, is we have to drastically overestimate how much it's going to impact our lives. Like there's all these people who think solar is so ugly, there's no way I could look at it every day. And the truth is, like, it's going to be on your roof. You're going to stop looking at it in a week. You're going to forget it's there. You're
Yeah.
not staring at your roof every day.
I
Like,
wonder how many could tell you what color their shingles are.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like the capacity for human beings to get used to things is insane.
Right. Yeah, that's right. We conform quickly.
Yeah. But we always think, like, we always imagine that something's going to have this drastic impact on our lives. And so in sales, you just need to move someone towards it's going to have a good drastic impact, not a bad one. And then they're going to buy the thing and forget about it. But you have to get them over that threshold of doubt.
How do you hit that for the homeowner and how good their life's going to be? Is it vacations with their loved ones? Is it fancy dinners, a new watch? Like where they put their savings, or how does that work?
I mean, it depends on what they want. I think, like, marketing's tougher because you're talking one to many, and I work more in marketing. But sales, I mean, you would do that in the moment. You would first find out what their interests were if you were chatting to them, and then say, like, well, you could use more money for X thing that you just mentioned. But when you're marketing, you have to talk more about general savings. And, you can say things like, if invested in the S&P 500, this amount that you saved would compound into this, or think of what you could do for nonprofits. It's imagine how much better use you could, like, imagine how much more good you could do with that money rather than just paying for rising utility bills every year.
Right. Right. The better decisions you have the ability to make, the new
Yeah,
decisions you have the ability to make.
exactly. I mean, it's lifestyle. It's just painting a desired lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're pushing the digital ads out there, and then the people are reacting, responding, and then you get the sales meeting.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, there's so much there's so much other than the digital ads. There's the web presence and the SEO. There's all the partnerships we have with local nonprofits who send us leads of homeowners. There's the cold emailing we do. I mean, there's 10 different channels that people come to us through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sales in my world is much different. I think 0% on digital marketing in
Yeah.
for what I do at
Yeah.
services and utility. Now they need the bald guy in steel toes to show up at the shop and let him, I'm real, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, and some of the folks have hair that go now, but
Yeah. So how do people find you?
no, I find them. We find them.
Okay. So what do you use
Yeah.
to find them?
So it's almost like door knocking. Yeah, a lot of times you're driving up to the power plant.
Nice.
Maybe if you don't know anything, you're emailing folks to get a phone call and then a sit down meeting. And then it's like months of some legalities. And then it's all right, we'll try you here and see how it works. So it's slow. It's slow.
Yeah.
A benefit from myself and my colleagues is we've been doing it a long time, so we came with personal reputations to lean on top of.
Right.
But otherwise, yeah, it's going door knock almost. Boy, these gypsy girls, they had it figured out. I guess I didn't maybe, or not gypsy, circus girls.
Yeah.
Circus girls, yeah.
They
Maybe
were
I
gypsies too.
gypsy. Okay,
They were vagabonds.
I think if I just came up with a circus art and moved around, I might fit right in because that is kind of what I'm doing.
I'm telling you, there's communities of people all over South America doing that.
Yeah, and that's the fire twirling and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
You
Well,
might realize that's your thing.
I would love to find out. I'd love to find. I could be great.
Yeah.
All right, tell me about this week in solar. What's going on this week in solar, and how does that initiative or entity work?
So back in April, I was getting a lot of attention on LinkedIn for posts I was making about just updates with what was going on leading up to the one big beautiful bill being passed. And my marketing manager, Alyssa, who is an amazingly talented, wonderful human being, basically told me that I needed to stop trying to involve myself in everything. And she was like, here's something that you can grow. Like we had talked about, we had a YouTube channel that we hadn't used that the owner of our company purchased from a local solar guy who had retired. So that had like 28,000 subscribers and it was just sitting there. We hadn't used it for a year and a half. And the owner of our company gave us the green light to start using that to do some solar news. And I had also been using Substack forever. I absolutely love Substack. And so we decided to start a solar news channel. So every Friday, it's 5 minutes or less, and I just read the news updates of the week. I do usually 3 stories in very digestible, bite-sized form. And it is set up so that you can listen to it as a podcast, you can watch it as a video, or you can just read it in your inbox.
Okay, a news update. I love that 5 minutes or less. Do you know that the majority of my favorite podcasts are those little updates
Nice.
on my interests, right?
Yeah,
Like the
exactly.
retired guy living on my favorite lake to fish. He makes a,
Yeah,
gives me a news report.
yeah. And
That's brilliant.
the news in the solar industry is scattered in 50 million different places. And so you have to comb through all this stuff to find it. And I was already doing that to create news briefings for our sales team.
Hmm.
And so we decided to just start sending it out to the public. And it's done really well. I mean, since April, we've published 50 episodes because we do one news roundup and one interview per week. We've got like 430 people on the email list now, and it's growing fast. And yeah, people are starting to ask me if they can come be on the show, which is a really cool feeling. Someone I really look up to messaged me a couple weeks ago and asked if she could be on the show, and we recorded on Monday.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So it's been a cool feeling. Yeah, for anyone who's listening, it's This Week in Solar. If you're interested in solar news updates, you can find it on Substack, YouTube, or any of the podcast platforms.
Awesome. I'm definitely going to be checking it out. And the target audience, is it folks in the industry? It's news for us to consume?
Right now, we are letting it, we're not worried about the target audience yet because we're lucky enough that people are actually listening to it. And so we're giving it a few months to shake out.
Hmm.
There's people from our company that listen to it. There's people who we've installed for that listen to it. There's people who are interested in solar from across the country that listen to it. And there's a lot of people in the solar industry, because that's who I know on LinkedIn, that are listening as well. So we are, I mean, just curating the content the same way. And we're going to wait probably a year before we decide, who is engaging the most and who we should do more work to target.
Okay. Um, it, I gotcha. It's interesting just to start building and branding before you decide on marketing and sales, but it seems to align with your passion for the industry, just to grow the momentum and interest so that we continue to grow in solar,
Yeah.
as a society, I suppose.
And creating things and growing them is so much fun.
Is it?
Yeah, it's so cool.
What makes it so much fun?
Just getting to see more of an impact over time.
Hmm.
My my brother is one of the funniest people I know, but he has this, he likes to joke. He'll like pull up a graph that just shows like steady growth, like a 45-degree angle, and he'll be like, if the y-axis is time and the x-axis is success, you're going to want to make sure you stay on a steady upward trend.
I love it. Solid advice. Solid advice. Okay, but building that, you're saying it's exciting and you get to celebrate the results, but it takes a lot of effort and trial and error,
Yeah.
right? To know what to share, when to share, and then are people enjoying it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is quite a challenge. I'm glad you're enjoying it. It's one of the hardest things I've ever embarked on in my life. I don't think I totally understood the career path for this podcast when I started, to be real honest.
Yeah.
But
Well, I mean, the networking aspect of it has been really cool for me. Just
okay,
like people that I admire who are willing to share their secrets because there's an audience now. Whereas if I were to just be like, hey, can we just talk for half an hour? I'd be like, no, I'm a busy man. I'm very important.
yeah, okay. But if we record it, oh yeah, all right, now you're available.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
exactly.
That's right. You
Yeah.
want to come over for dinner? What you having? I get
Yeah.
it.
It's my own thinly veiled selfish desire to hang out with these people anyway, but it gives them motivation to come hang out if we're recording it and giving it to a couple hundred people.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Okay. The vain part. For me personally, I love that I continually learn. Like
Mm.
I know that this initiative, we continue to grow it. I get to meet people and learn new things.
Yeah,
So that's probably the fun part for me. But I get that. That is a neat byproduct of it all.
yeah.
All right. Aaron, what else can you share with us from this week in solar or your experiences or exact solar?
Well, I got to get going to a concert, but
Oh,
my brother's playing his first concert ever. I'm very excited.
cool.
But if you want to talk to me, just message me on LinkedIn. I'm very active on the platform and I always love meeting new people.
Very cool. All right. Well, I hope you continue to meet more new people and grow this initiative. I love your passion for it. Your startup story is the most unique one I've ever heard. Didn't see
Yes.
that coming. Nailed that.
Yeah.
And it was a real pleasure getting to know you here today. And yeah, look forward to networking some more in the future.
Yeah, thanks, man. There's like 5 people in the solar industry who all go to the same conferences, so I'm sure we'll run into each other eventually.